Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. It's a disappointing night for Napoli fans around the world. We have lost the title decider at this point between Napoli and Milan. It swung Milan's way. It seems like the Scudetto will be decided in Milano between Inter and Milan. And I've got to say, guys, we didn't do enough to win the game. We didn't show that we wanted it badly. We didn't look like a team that was gunning for a Scudetto. We didn't look like a team that was hungry for this title that we are missing for 32 years. And what a chance this was for Napoli. We went and played a bit conservative, and then when we conceded the goal, we failed to react immediately. The subs came a little too late, and to be honest, at that point, the game never looked like it was going to swing back Napoli's way. There was zero chances created by Napoli. Now, guys, I do have a bit of a cold. So if I at some point end up sneezing or having to blow my nose, I am so sorry for making you see that. But just a heads up of what might come in the next hour or so, that we will be going over this game. But let me see who's in the chat, even though we lost the game, and let me see what the comments are. So we got a bunch of people that have already commented: Anthony Giampolo, Anthony Navarro, Anto Armenino, Danny Bum, Hanno Hecking, ID Beats, Korean Bats, Maximus1318, Papa, Paulo, Run for Fun, a bunch of guys in the chat. Victor just joined the chat as well. There's a lot of you guys in here. Make sure that you do give your comments in the live chat so that I can read them out and we can discuss what went wrong in today's game. So let me start off with Anthony, always one of the first to comment. Orsato not calling that pen for us, and we get a subsequent yellow by Koulibaly. I hope that doesn't affect this second half. So that must have been a comment from the very start of the game. SJ saying we can't lose to Milan twice, get a draw, and lose to Inter and win the Scudetto. Makes me even more annoyed at what Spalletti did. So actually, we didn't lose to Milan in the first game. We won that game with Elmas. But overall, two very balanced games. We've got Napoli beating Milan at the San Siro, Milan beating Napoli at the Diego Armando Maradona in two games that honestly didn't have much chances between them, and they were both decided by set pieces, which shows, a Scudetto. You play 38 games, you suffer through 38 games, 9 months long, and then it's a set piece that decides everything. When you reach this level of football, you're gonna cancel each other out tactically most times, and then what makes a difference is being reactive in set pieces. That's something that unfortunately the coach has no influence on. You can only train reactiveness so much, and today we failed, but not for the first time. We failed to react to the second balls time and time again. We've conceded goals like this all season. I mean, just cast your mind back to last week with Pedro's goal. Again, in a corner, second ball, Pedro scores. Today, we lost the second ball, we lost the third ball, and then Milan scores. We've conceded this type of goal time and time again against Spezia, against Empoli, against Leicester. We've seen this before, guys, and honestly, you can't win the Scudetto if you're carrying a weakness for months and you do absolutely nothing about it. And then Milan, they are one of the teams that concedes the most in set pieces, and Napoli were so poor at that. Napoli was super good at set pieces at the start of the year, and then we started getting a little too clever. We tried to do all these fancy set pieces, and they just don't really work anymore. We haven't really made the most of them recently, and we didn't punish a team that suffers in set pieces. SJ is saying, needed Lozano on earlier to attack the space in behind that Theo always gives. That's a really good point to observe. I think a fit Lozano playing more than 20 minutes would have actually given Milan a whole lot of problems. We didn't get that opportunity, partly because he's still recovering from injury. But yeah, I mean, there is no one supporting Osimhen. Osimhen has got this great pace to him, and then he's always alone up against 2 or 3 defenders, no one there to support him, and it just all falls apart once we give him that final ball. I feel like it's one of those things that it's just give the ball to Osimhen and then inshallah, like it's just let's hope he does something, but half the time it's not even straight on goal, it's off the corner flag or something, and it's very difficult for him to do anything about it. Al X is saying, just too bad, don't know what they are playing. Everyone, especially the ones in the attacking third, seem lost, maybe except Osimhen, but one man isn't enough. Yeah, everyone is really dim in attack this season. Just generally, Insigne, Politano, Lozano, Unas, they just haven't contributed as much as we thought that they would. Papa is saying Osimhen was Napoli's best player by far. I don't know. I think maybe Di Lorenzo was the better player, and I honestly don't think that Osimhen managed to showcase that much either. Paulo is saying, but against big team, Osimhen always has to do it by himself. He's separated and has nobody to play with. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Osimhen really suffered with today was the fact that nobody gave him any crosses that he could exploit. We have a guy that can jump 2 meters into the air, and all the balls seem to be mid-height or on the ground. It's just we're not playing to his strength. I hope Insigne starts from the bench next week. He was garbage, says Mattias Bifani. Veiko Vasic is saying the Scudetto Decider Milan Campione. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility that Milan wins the title. It's also a possibility that Inter win the title. It's a possibility that Napoli win the title still. It's definitely has swung Milan's way, whether that is as in Milano's way, whether that will be to given to Inter or Milan, I don't know. I think percentage-wise, I'll give both 40% and then Napoli 20%. I don't think Juventus are really in the title. They just haven't shown that quality that you'd think that they need in the last 10 games to actually put on a serious challenge. Napoli, we'll see. I mean, still mathematically in a better position than Juventus, obviously, but clearly we took a big hit today when it comes to our chances of winning the title. Tariq Ladihi saying, I hope Unas starts next game. Yeah, Unas he came on really well, did a good job. Maximus 1318 is saying, I'm tired of just hoping for a top 4 spot, tired of it. I mean, I am too, guys. I am 100% tired of top 4, but we don't actually get top 4 since the last 2 years. Guys, Napoli, this time 2 years ago in 2020 was 6th. The fact that we're even playing for first spot is huge compared to where we were 2 years ago. Now, obviously, this should be where Napoli is, but the progress is there. And I mean, this is a team that has only ever won 2 titles. So it's also not to be expected that we win titles, nor are we playing under our usual, standard. This is Napoli's reality. We're a team that challenges for top 4. Every once in a while we bother someone for first spot, but realistically, the status quo is not us to be first. And if you can't accept that, that's fine. Go watch some other channel. But it is what it is, guys. It's the reality of it. And I'm just honestly, I'm just glad that we have recovered so much actually this year. This is realistically, if you take a look back, if you cast your mind back to where we were 6-7 months ago, guys, we'd have signed for this. We'd have signed to be 2-3 points off the top. Okay, 3-4 points if you consider Inter have a game in hand. We would have signed for this at the start of the season. So, obviously it's disappointing. how we have reached this position. But I mean, guys, this is a process, right? You can't really expect to go from Europa League football to winning the title. You know, if that's what you were thinking, then I mean it's a dream, but it's not realistic. You shouldn't be upset or angry at the fact that that's not the case. It takes time. Some of this takes time, guys. We've come off the back of 2 really poor seasons. I'm not crying, by the way, for the result. I have a cold, as I said before, in at the start of the live. For some reason, I'm just not that upset at this. Like, I would have been more upset losing to Lazio, because at that point, or drawing against Lazio, because at that point you take away even the opportunity to play this type of game, and that's really Napoli's level. Napoli's level is we should be a club that has the opportunity to play these sort of games. Then, you know, the beauty of football is that it can go both ways. And honestly, today it went the right way. It went Milan's way, and I thought they were the better team. And I think, you know, considering the games that we've played, Milan also deserves the title just as much as Napoli would in the last 30 or so games. So, you know, it's one of those things where you look at it objectively speaking, guys. I mean, you guys that follow me, you guys know I'm trying to be objective as possible. Objectively speaking, you can't be too upset about this. I was distraught before the Fabian goal against Lazio when we were wasting a chance to even play this game tied on points with Milan. But honestly, you know, we played it. We gave it our shot. Obviously, not the way we would have liked to play it, but hey, you know, we take Spalletti, the good and the bad, with him, and then it went the way it went. Daniel Bowen with the €10 donation. Can't have been easy for Daniel, because he also went to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. And he says, disappointed in the negativity, Dom, but I get it. To me, Napoli has been good enough for quite some time to have Scudetto aspirations other than the mutiny period. Yeah, but, I mean, Daniel, that thing takes time to heal from. This team we were eating ourselves in 2018-19. We literally had fractions of the dressing room that were going against each other, the coach, the owner. The fact that we're even here with 75% of the season completed and having played a game of this level, guys, we haven't had this in years. We have to think positive, guys. We have to. We can't. Honestly, guys, like what this team has given us over the past week has been amazing. Even just the thought of potentially winning today. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed this week. And I was sick this week, and I enjoyed it. And honestly, it's a process, guys. It's a process. I honestly think that this could be a stepping stone. In good, even if we sell players, because I think if we sell players but manage to get this Champions League football, I think that's the start of a new period for Napoli, and I think we can do quite good things with the money that we get out of these players. And there's other players that are leaving, such as Insigne, which I think are actually a hindrance to Napoli at this moment in time. I don't think he's been good at all this season. He just had one good game against Lazio. And honestly, the moment that we can move past Insigne, the better. Honestly speaking, the moment we can get Elmas on that left wing, or maybe Zerbin or whoever, if we manage to buy someone amazing like Anthony, the moment that happens, I think we can really build. We can really then push for something greater. I mean, just take a look at Milan. They came super close last year to the Scudetto. They had a few good months. They dropped off. And this year, they're going again. It's a process, guys. And, you know, they might win it this year. So, you know, have faith. Things don't come as easy as we would like, guys. And I know it's frustrating. Guys. But I know I'm just trying to also stay positive, because we can't have these swings, guys. We can't have these sort of mood swings where yesterday we were going to win the title, today we're a useless club. Guys, that's not how it works, right? We got to be smarter than that, guys. ID is saying, once again, we refuse to take the game to Milan. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about our mentality, guys, at this moment in time. We just seem a bit scared, we seem a bit hesitant, and we're just not brave enough. I think if we had, shown a bit more bravery, especially Spalletti, then maybe things would have been different. And Antonio Tonti is saying that Spalletti deserves a bad grade today. And, that is the case. If we go to the match ratings, and usually I do the tactical analysis before, but let me go to the match ratings. We see that actually I gave Spalletti a 4 because I don't think the subs came at a good enough time. I actually don't think that Politano should have started. I think maybe Unas should have started. He did really well against Lazio, and I think in these sort of games maybe you've got to play players that are most in form and just give Unas a shot. I don't think Unas is a world-class player. I don't necessarily think he's better than Politano, but he showed against Lazio that he can give a little something extra in this moment in time. So I think it was a bit conservative to play with Politano. Fair enough that he did. Unas showed that maybe he's more in form at the moment. But yeah, the subs just didn't come at the right time. Mertens came on with just 10 minutes to go. I don't know. Regarding everybody else, Insigne, Zielinski, Politano, 5. They just haven't supported Osimhen. I think Lobotka gave some really good passes to them, created opportunities for them to then exploit, and then they failed each time. Wrong choices, wrong passing, wrong runs. And unfortunately, Osimhen was the victim in all of that. And then I'm going to give the defense generally a good grade, between average and slightly above average when it comes to Di Lorenzo. Except for Koulibaly, I think he was a culprit. He was the culprit for Giroud's goal. So let's go straight to that analysis of the game. But first, let me read some of the comments. Payman Dalgar saying Osimhen runs and holds the ball, but world-class players win games by themselves. Osimhen is nowhere near the level of Cavani or Higuain. I agree with that. Osimhen is nowhere near Cavani or Higuain, and Cavani and Higuain, you could say, were arguably playing in worse teams than this. They did have more support, though, in the final third than currently Osimhen. While the general level of the team was maybe inferior, when it came to the final third, I think having Hamsik and Lavezzi behind you, or prime Callejon, prime Insigne, and prime Mertens behind you, I think that's different compared to these three potatoes currently with Toronto Insigne, Sleepy Zielinski, and Politano. So, it's hard to make that comparison. Obviously, I think Osimhen is a good player. I don't think he's complete by any stretch of the imagination. And personally, honestly, guys, if I had to choose between a Vlahovic and an Osimhen, I would pick Vlahovic. I think Vlahovic is a different beast. I think Osimhen is also good. That doesn't mean Osimhen is bad. I know you guys can't comprehend the fact that there's a scale to things. You guys think that just because I say one guy's better than the other, it means the other guy is bad. No. I'm just saying, I think what Vlahovic showed with Fiorentina, who has such an inferior team, if you had put him in a Napoli team, I think he would have been more prolific than Osimhen. He tends to get less injured than Osimhen. I don't know. That's all part of it. At this moment in time, if I had to choose, I would go for Vlahovic. I know he had a stinker this weekend, but again, we're not judging players based on one weekend. I'm judging based on the last 2 years that they've been battling it out in the Serie A, and you guys are I'm happy for you guys to disagree with that. I don't think the difference is that much. I think we're talking about this sort of difference, not this much. But Cavani and Higuain, guys, they are generational world-class strikers. Cavani is literally the third most prolific striker in the last decade in Europe. So to compare him with Osimhen is just like saying, it's not even a thing. It's not even like, it shouldn't even be a debate. Obviously, Cavani is better than Osimhen. That doesn't mean Osimhen can't reach his level. I'm just saying for now, should try to get Cavani on a free or cheap deal. Honestly, I still think Cavani would do a shift for us. I honestly still think he'd be right up there, banging in goals. And he has been doing that with Man United, in a very tough English Premier League. And again, not with people that are necessarily playing that well. I mean, Man United are getting destroyed left, right, and center. Brian Camargo saying, I feel bad, Koulibaly. He deserves so many more trophies. Yeah, I mean, yes and no, right? Because let's be honest, Koulibaly is a great player, but today he was at fault. I honestly think that any one of these players can go and play at another top club and win. But there's other players that I think are at top clubs that wouldn't even deserve to be in Napoli. So a team has some good players, some bad players. There's so many other players in other clubs that deserve better. I think partially, I'm not saying Koulibaly's to blame that we haven't won trophies, but he's part of this team. He's part of this team that isn't able to up their mentality. And I don't know how much he has influence over that, but you win and lose as a team. Payman Daigar saying, you say it takes time, but next year we will have stronger opposition while we are not investing. Where is the project or ambition? Adiele spoke about titles a while ago. Now he does not care anymore. First off, we don't know what's going to happen this summer. We don't know how much he's going to spend. We don't know who's staying. We don't know who's leaving. Second off, you talk about stronger opposition. That's not necessarily true. Again, we don't know what other clubs will be doing. We kept saying for the last 3 or 4 years, if we don't win it this year, then we'll never get a chance. And yet here we are with a chance. Or at least before 3 hours ago, we had a chance. We have players that, could come good for us, that maybe still haven't even shown their full potential. Like Osimhen, for example, we just spoke about him. He hasn't reached the peaks that we maybe expected from him. Lobotka, we just discovered this year pretty much. We have some players maybe in the youth team or out on loan that could put in a better shift than Politano and Insigne. I am 100% sure if you put Zerbin instead of Insigne, he would have better ratios than him this year. I'm 100% sure. And he's not even that good. He's average. So we've got players. Someone mentioned in the chat Gaetano, Vergara. If we replace Fabian Ruiz with Vergara, who's in our youth team, I honestly wouldn't even be that upset. I honestly think Vergara is an amazing talent. Amazing talent. Guys, I've watched that kid play. He's like 18. I've watched that kid play a few minutes, and I just know he is going to be an absolute beast for the next 10 years. He is, honestly, guys, like, he is the real thing. The real thing. So if we give these kind of guys a chance, who knows where they could take us. So, yeah. Maybe nowhere. Maybe somewhere. We'll see. Dominic M is saying Lozano left wing is the play. Yeah, Lozano, we've not really played him that much in left wing. I honestly think that he's a really good right. Like, I prefer him on the right, even though maybe he might prefer playing on the left. But yeah, I mean, we definitely need to work out a way to better use our wingers. Adam Miller saying Insigne has been trash again tonight. Lozano can play the left better than Insigne. Yeah, I mean, Elmas can play better than Insigne on the left. Insigne has the amount of back passes that he played today, the amount of times that he had passes intercepted towards him because he just wasn't switched on, and the goal that we conceded was because Insigne lost the ball and then Insigne did a foul. He was actually like detrimental to Napoli's performance today. And I know some people will say that I hate on Insigne. When he does play well, I give him a good score. Just go watch literally the last video. Sport TV 24 team are saying, why not play Petagna and Osimhen? Yeah, I don't know. Petagna has just disappeared. Bro, Dom is sick. That's why I brought it up. Yeah, I don't know what you refer to, something maybe above on the chat. But yeah, I managed to grab a cold, guys. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to go live today. I honestly didn't think I was going to go live today. But I recovered. And my sacrifice was not rewarded. Lozano fit is better than Politano or Insigne. Daniel Bowen is asking for a heat map. So let me pull up a heat map, guys. And now you know what? Let me pull up a heat map right now. Let's do that. Let's go and pull up a heat map of the game. And I think the heat map will show quite an interesting thing. So let's see, where can we go and get the heat map? Let's replace this with this. All right. And let's agree to this, and let's close that video. We don't want ads, no sponsors. Napoli Talk is a sponsor-free space. Why is it not letting me scroll down? Let's see. Match center. Oops, not letting me scroll down. Okay, I'll have to take a screenshot of this instead. So bear with me, guys. I am taking a heat map for you of the Napoli-Milan game because for some reason the browser isn't interacting with my OBS. So let me save this as heat map, and let me add the heat map on the screen. Sorry guys for this very improvised thing, but there we go. We have a heat map on the screen now, so thank you for your patience. So this is the heat map of Napoli-Milan, and you can see here Napoli on the left. We were pretty much useless when it came to our left-hand side in terms of attack. We attacked mainly down the right, first with Politano, then with Adam Unas coming on. Insigne and Mario Rui really did not do much. Insigne is literally becoming a glorified left back at this point. Like, he's been playing additional left back all season. He's providing nothing going forward, literally nothing. And for those of you that will say that he has 6 assists, Insigne with 6 assists is like Cristiano Ronaldo with 3 goals in a season. Insigne should be aiming for 20 assists. Okay, maybe not 20, but 15. He's literally like 3 times less than what he should be. So, you know, again, we like the fact that he defends. I'm always pro people defending. I want the wingers to defend, but then you've also got to provide. You've also got to go up, because we can't play 38 games in a season with 2 left backs. So, yeah, that's that. Anto Armenino is saying, Dom, who would you rather have, Mario Rui the GOAT or Theo Hernandez? Honestly, yeah, obviously Theo Hernandez. I did a poll on Instagram about it. The majority of you said Mario Rui. I think the majority of you need to go see a doctor. But no, honestly, Mario Rui is the least of our problems this year. This year, if we don't win the Scudetto, it's purely down to Politano, Insigne, and Lozano not turning up. Because if they had the stats that they had last year, those three guys, we'd be miles ahead. We'd be probably unbeaten by now. Yeah, I'll say it. We'd probably be unbeaten. And that's simply because we never really got trashed in any game. We've always just lost by 1 goal margins. And it happens to always be in a game where these guys don't turn up. If they had turned up, then maybe we would have at least drawn the game. So, yeah. Guys, make sure you are smashing that like button, because I am really sick, and I am pushing through, making sure I don't sneeze or cough too much or blow my nose, but inside I am dying. So you better smash that like button and make this all worth it. Also because Napoli lost. Let's see. John Weir is saying Pioli adding Kessie as Cam did its job. Yeah, so tactically, guys, Pioli did a masterpiece. So he sacrificed a player like Kessie, put him in a number 10 position so that he was basically disrupting Lobotka and Fabian, and just sacrificed Kessie. And that really worked wonders for him. But you know what? In the first 10 minutes, I thought Spalletti had gotten it right. So if we go to the analysis of the game, guys, this is how Napoli started the game, and I really like Lobotka in this game. Lobotka, he is world class by now, but you can see here how everyone's going towards Fabian, who's coming towards the ball, and then Lobotka is able to just slide away from the Milan midfielders, from Kessie, and then he manages to pick out a pass for Lobotka, and he's so good at just making that into a two-touch play, just opens up Napoli incredibly well. And it's at these points where Napoli was potentially in a 4v4 situation, and we just didn't really do enough. Sometimes, in situations like these, sometimes Politano made the wrong choices. He would always cut inside towards his left foot, but not even in a directly horizontal manner. He would always bring the ball slightly behind him, and then it just allows the Milan midfield to come back. And instead of being one-on-one against Theo Hernandez, then he'd be one-on-one against Tonali or one-on-one against Kessie. It just wasn't really what we needed to do. I think Politano needed to go up against Theo Hernandez a bit more, or alternatively just very quickly unleash the ball, play some 1-2s with Zielinski. Zielinski's in a good position there, where if Politano, as soon as he receives it, gives it off to Zielinski, that makes the run. That would have been a much better approach, but instead Politano takes the ball, wants to cut inside, wants to dribble, a million touches, and then we're back to square one. So yeah. Insigne saying Insigne will destroy the MLS. Yeah, for sure. Insigne will destroy the MLS. I mean, he's good enough for that, but this season he's been pretty poor. Nikola Jokic is saying, don't rule out Juve. They're still in the title race. No, they're not. And again, we're talking about Lobotka here, and we're talking about how important he is. And I posted this on Twitter, so some of you will have seen this, but literally every time he receives the ball, he's putting himself in a position where he's got opportunities available for him 360 degrees. You can see here, he's in the middle of 3 Milan players, but he's got 4 options that he can give the ball to. And that's not a coincidence. That's himself putting himself in that position, which allows him to have 4 options, because someone different maybe wouldn't put himself in that position. He'd put himself maybe in between Leao and Kessie, for example, and then that opportunity is not there anymore. So he actually goes and finds these positions where Napoli can have that extra player compared to Milan, play a 4 against 3, get out of the situation. And to be honest, in the first 5-10 minutes, this is how Napoli was playing, and I thought, you know what, this was this is going well. Napoli's got the control of the midfield. And I thought we were also quite intelligent when it came to how we pressed Milan. Obviously, Magnan is a really good goalkeeper when it comes to assisting as well. You know, he's really their first striker, you could say, or their first offensive player, because he has a really good pass. And we did really well to not put too many people forward. You can see here, Insigne, Politano, and Lobotka are actually really far back. Fabian's not too far forward. We've only got Zielinski and Osimhen that are up there, and we're really just telling Magnan, you know what? Why don't you pass the ball to one of your center backs or to Tonali? You know, we're not going to press you too hard, and that's to encourage that kind of pass, because actually it's much more dangerous for him to put a long ball over the top and try to find speedy players like Leao. So I thought Napoli was quite intelligent, and we didn't really suffer this situation from Milan a lot, and they score a lot of their goals this way. So I thought in the first 10 minutes we had everything going well for us. And then there was this situation here where I think we should have had a penalty. I don't understand how there was no replay of this, at least not in the version that I was watching. There was no replay. VAR didn't intervene, but someone has to explain to me how this was not a penalty. I think images speak quite clearly. I honestly don't understand it. I cannot give any reason, like objectively, I cannot give any reasons why this wasn't at least reviewed, honestly. So yeah. Lawrence Moore 14 is saying Milan pressed so much better than us. They man-marked every time so that we had no options going forward. Milan are a very physical team. They like to press, but I think Napoli did pretty well getting out of that press, especially with Lobotka. And then you can tell that he's recovering from an injury, because he kind of didn't do it as much in the second half, and in fact he got subbed off. But when he was fit and going in the first half, I thought he was brilliant in eluding that press that Milan were putting on us. And then we get to the goal, guys, and I mean, this goal is frustrating. You've got a free kick from Milan, relatively straightforward free kick, not too difficult to defend, I don't think. Just looking at this, it's very difficult for Milan to score off of this free kick, right? I mean, the ball's quite far away. It's quite far away. I think Napoli, by the time the ball reaches the box, the defenders should have enough time to realize the trajectory of the ball, put themselves in the right situation to defend it, and it should be just relatively straightforward. Every set piece from this sort of area is easy to defend relatively, because you're facing the ball and you've got time to react. We do react. We do reach the ball, but we don't clear it very well. We always tend to drop the ball at the D. And we saw it against Lazio last weekend. We saw it against Leicester City. We saw it time and time again, where we don't clear the ball. It always lands in that position, and every time we have no one there to pick it up. So we don't get to the second ball. Then we don't get to the third ball. Again, twice Milan have had the time to shoot. Bring the ball down and shoot. And then we have Koulibaly that keeps Giroud onside. And I think it's much more clear, and then he scores. And it's much more clear in this angle how Koulibaly is just not positioned in line with the other Napoli defenders. And honestly, we rate Koulibaly very highly. We spoke about, does Koulibaly deserve to play in a team that challenges and wins titles? And yes, he probably does deserve more trophies than he has had in his career. But then, he does something like this, and this potentially has cost Napoli a trophy. So it's one of those things where, if you were to say, does he deserve more? Yes and no. Because he's not prone to, he is prone to some errors. And then the reaction just never came from Napoli. This was the 49th minute of the game, and we had 0 chances, 0 opportunities, and just everything was wrong. You can see here Mauro Rui, for example, going down the wing and then putting in a low cross in for Osimhen, who, in my opinion, he's not the type of player that is going to attack the ball on the ground. Osimhen is literally not the guy that when there's a cross, he will stick out a toe in between 2 defenders. He's not like... Osimhen could never score this goal that Giroud did. Never. Because that's not his instinct, to put himself in between 2 center backs and stick a toe out. What Osimhen does really well is stand behind the defenders, wait for a lofted pass, a lofted ball, and then use that momentum coming into the towards the defenders to leap over them and head the ball in. It's simple, guys. Osimhen, you just got to give him a lifted ball so that he can use his agility and physique to score headers. A low ball like that, I've never seen Osimhen score with such a pass, ever. It's just not something he does. And yet, we consistently could not find a way to loft a ball in for Osimhen. Just bad decisions over bad decisions. And sometimes, we talk about, Di Lorenzo is so good. Guys, Di Lorenzo has less than 3 assists this season. In fact, let me see how many assists Di Lorenzo has. Because we rave about... we know Mauro Rui, is hit and miss. Even though he did a great pass towards Osimhen against Cagliari for us to level the score. And that's what I mean. Like, the one time we give Osimhen a good ball to use his head for, he scores. Literally, that's all he needs. He did it against Cagliari. He did it against Venezia. He did it other times earlier in the season against Torino. And then today, we kept getting into these situations and never, ever had a lofted ball towards Osimhen. Let me look at Di Lorenzo's assist this season, because, you compare it to a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I know Trent Alexander-Arnold is like peak right back status, but you can't deny the fact that that's what they should be aiming towards. David El Frosty, thanks for the $1.99 donation, saying really should have signed Matias Oliveira in January. Thanks for supporting the channel, man. And yeah, I agree that I think we should have, because clearly Spalletti doesn't trust Gulam enough, unless Mauro Rui is on the verge of dying. And in some games, you've got to maybe change things up. If you're seeing that something's not working, maybe you change the left back. Maybe he puts in a better cross in, and that helps you score. Mauro Rui today just wasn't delivering. And yeah, but again, we talk about Mauro Rui, but guys, this season Di Lorenzo has 1 assist. 1 assist from Di Lorenzo. So even on the right, we're just not getting that service from the fullbacks. Mauro Rui, I think, is a little better this year in terms of numbers. I think he's got, let's see how many he has. Let's see, Mauro Rui, how many? He's got 3 assists. So in total, our left back and our right back has 4 assists this season. Let me compare it to someone like Theo Hernandez. So they have 4 assists and 1 goal between 2 players. Let's look at Theo Hernandez. Theo Hernandez has... 1 second, guys. He has... What does it say? 4 goals and 6 assists this season. So, There you have it, guys. Theo Hernandez is literally worth 3 times as much as Mario Rui and Giovanni Di Lorenzo combined when it comes to attacking. Obviously, he lacks the defensive discipline that maybe someone like Di Lorenzo has, but we need more. We need more. If you combine Di Lorenzo and Mario Rui's stats offensively, you combine Insigne's and Lozano's and Politano's offensively, you start seeing why Napoli maybe have not challenged for this title as much as maybe they should have. We're just missing those assists and goals from the flanks. Ooh, this cough is really not gonna go away, is it? And yeah, guys, that's really it. Milan could have actually even scored in the second half. Second goal, they could have had a goal with I think it was Salamakers at the end. Could have made it 2-0. Could have made it a really round score, much more than they would have deserved. But yeah, I mean that's a reality of it. The fact that Milan were actually closer to scoring a second goal than we were to drawing it. Tambo is saying, you're right, but Di Lorenzo has a bit more assists in all competition. Yeah, but again, like, I don't like to look at Europa League, to be honest, because the Europa League is a strange competition. It's one of those where you're up against teams that, I don't know. It's one of those where I obviously, like, it definitely helps that he did. I think he scored a goal in the Europa League and has a few assists in there. But really, we want to look at what he's done in Serie A. I mean, we're talking about what it means to win a Scudetto here. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I need to sneeze a lot, but like a lot. I'm gonna have to close the live and go on a sneezing spree. Been holding it in for 45 minutes. I don't think I can last any longer, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up there. Just one thing that we forgot to do. Actually, no, I gotta resist because we still got two things to do. We gotta look at the next matches and Spalletti's press conference. Oh god, I don't know if I'm gonna last that long. Okay, I got this. Deep breaths. Right, so next matches, Verona-Napoli is tough. That's a tough one. Verona are the only team that have 3 players that have scored more than 10 goals. Obviously, Simeone is the key player to look out for, and this is a hostile environment for Napoli. Hostile environment. Verona is one of the toughest cities for us to go to, whether it's against Verona, whether it's against Chievo. It's tough. They hate us. And Verona are our bad team. You know, we got history of bad performances against them recently as well, especially. And they're a team that are super in form. So that's going to be tough. And then we've got just generally a very tough April. Atalanta, Fiorentina, Roma is not going to be easy. But let's make sure that we get at least 4 points before the break. We've got to keep Juve at a distance before the break and then maybe regroup and go from there. But there's a serious risk that we might get dragged into Champions League, fighting for Champions League football, if we don't grab points against Atalanta, Fiorentina, and Roma. And then after that, the last 5 games should be easy for Napoli. I mean, once we've taken care of these 5 games, then we've basically played against all the top teams. So I think maybe the only hard one would be Sassuolo still to play. But we've really got to make sure that we don't lose against Verona. That's a tough game. That's a tough game. And then we got to get positive results against Atalanta, Fiorentina, and Roma. And Fiorentina, realistically, we should be winning that game if we want to get Champions League football. Roma as well. Roma, we've got to win that game. We've already drawn with them away from home. We can't lose more than 2 points out of 6 against Roma this season. It just, not against this Roma. Not against this Roma. The Atalanta-Napoli game is going to be interesting. I think Atalanta are a team that you never know what you're going to get. They're either going to have a great performance, physically on point, going right at you, or they're going to be subpar. You never really know with Atalanta. But out of these 5 games, honestly, the Verona one is the one that I'm most worried about. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we draw against Verona and win the next 4. I honestly wouldn't be surprised, also because it's tough to go playing against Verona when you feel so deflated after such a loss against Milan, because all of a sudden now you go from dreaming of the Scudetto to having to fight for top 4, and that could affect the motivation and preparation of these players. Ramasha is saying, Dom, you should go to bed with a good hot beverage. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Please don't put those images in my head, because I will literally close the live right now. So I have one more thing. I'm gonna resist and do one more thing. I'm gonna talk about the Spalletti press conference, because we got to. We're so close. We've got to go all the way. I'm not like Napoli. I go all the way. I'm not going to let you guys down. It's already enough disappointments today. Let's see. And again, guys, don't think I'm crying. I'm actually not that upset. It's just I've got a cold. And again, I'm not that upset because, honestly, when I look back at the last 30 games, I'm just glad that we even got this far, considering where we came from earlier this season. If you guys want to go and listen to some guy get mad at our players after 30 games like we did this season, you're on the wrong channel. Go follow someone else. I'm sure you'll find channels that will start complaining about our players. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to do that. We complained when we lost against Spezia. We complained when we lost against Empoli. I'm not going to complain about the fact that we lose 1-0 against Milan. Anyways, Spalletti is... Well, he had a press conference and he said he is disappointed for the result. Disappointed doubly to not having given the fans this joy. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they don't. There's something that we could have done better at times, but for long periods of the game, we did do well. We conceded a goal in a melee in the box. We could have also not conceded it, but it was the moment that we were conceding the most throughout the games, and they built an advantage off of that moment. Were they too light? He's asking, and he's saying, well, there's sometimes where we struggle to put some things in gear. If we don't play to our key strengths and characteristics, then we do struggle. The first 30 minutes we did really well. We weren't mean enough in some situations, and I think that's shown by the fact that Milan had, I think, 15 fouls against us compared to us only 7. We did not stop Milan from playing enough football. He's now being asked about, what are the objectives now of the season, and then Spalletti says, well, this is football. The results lead you to talk about different things each time. You have to accept both sort of conversations, whether it's Scudetto or whether it's Champions League football. From a mental point of view, it's obvious that playing with the wind against you, you struggle a little bit more. But tomorrow morning we go back on the field and we do things in a serious and organized way. And then they ask him, are you guys having trouble playing at the Maradona? And he's saying, no, it's only it's only a coincidence. But to be fair, he does have the journalist that asked that does have a point, because we weren't able to perform against Milan. We weren't able to perform against Barcelona. We weren't able to perform against Inter. The last 3 big games at the Maradona, we struggled. Whereas when we go play away from home, maybe we do a little bit better. We played a better game at the Camp Nou. We played better games at the San Siro. So maybe this fact that also the fact that the Maradona is only at full capacity in these huge games and then deserts the team all the other times, it just builds that extra sense of pressure in these big games that maybe the players don't need or suffer from. And again, I'm not saying that the fans shouldn't turn up to these big games. I mean, this is clearly something that the players need to work on rather than the fans. But, the fact that the fans only turn up in the big game, I think, could be a factor in all of this in terms of how much pressure these guys feel. He did say, however, that the penalty against Milan the penalty that we should have received is 100% a penalty. But for us, they're not going to talk about it. If it happened to Milan, they are. So that's Spalletti for you. The penalty is a huge turning point in the game, and disappointing that wasn't given, but. Episodes. I don't think there was any malice in that in terms of the referee or anything like that. If there really was malice, if the game was scripted to go Milan's way, then I think there was some situations where the ref wouldn't have blown his whistle, or would have. For example, the potential penalty that Milan had. I'm gonna sneeze so hard, guys. No, okay, I'm not going to sneeze. That potential penalty that Milan had, if they really wanted to script the thing in Milan's way, they would have given that. They obviously didn't. So I don't want you guys to think about things being scripted. That's not the case. Stefan Muradali is saying, Barca fan here, bad result today. I want Napoli to win Serie A. Welcome, Barca fan, Stefan. Bad result. Napoli put in a slightly better performance than we did against Barcelona, but still something is just not right in these big games. The mentality of playing against big teams is just still not there. I just haven't seen it enough, and the fact that Osimhen hasn't scored against Milan, Inter, or Juve in 2 seasons now. I'm not saying that's a cause of why Napoli lose or doesn't win, but it's definitely a symptom. Speaking of colds and symptoms and stuff like that, it shows that something's wrong. When your top striker isn't able to perform at his best against these teams because maybe he's not getting the service, it's a symptom that something is wrong. The thing is, smart refs who are not keeping things fair will miss huge non-calls like a penalty kick, says Daniel Bowen. Yeah. The one thing I will say about this ref is that I think he failed to keep the game under control. So Orsato is the most experienced ref in Italy. I think the fact that he had to speak to Pioli twice in the first 20 minutes, even give him a yellow card, the fact that Theo Hernandez and Osimhen had a brawl, the tensions were quite high. And then, I don't think he kept that game very, very under control. And I think both sets of players maybe thought that he didn't have things under control. And, that leads to more fouls, that leads to nervousness, and then it leads to the team that's losing to actually be more sloppy because they waste a lot of mental energy complaining with the referee. So, disappointed in how Orsato managed the game, but I don't think that was the key in this game. I think, with another ref, it would have probably been the same result. The the reality of the fact is that Napoli had 0 chances. Now, some of you will be saying, oh, but the penalty. And like, okay, yeah, I mean, the penalty. In 90 minutes, Napoli had 0 chances. Milan also didn't have many chances, but let's focus on ourselves. Napoli had 0 chances, so at most, this should have been a draw. But we cannot say that we deserve to win this game. And when matches like these deserve to be a draw, then it's a flip of the coin about who's going to win it. It happened to go our way in the San Siro, and it went Milan's way this time around. And Paolo Iannicello is saying that as well. Milan got bad calls against them as well throughout the season. And honestly, guys, if I had to pick between Inter and Milan going forward, I think Milan would deserve the Scudetto more just because they had much more injuries. They had much more bad refereeing calls given against them. And I just see them as deserving of the Scudetto as Napoli, to be honest. And yeah, they're ahead of us in points at the moment. But yeah, I think Napoli and Milan, if there was a table of who deserves it the most, I think it would be Napoli, Milan in first 2 spots, then Inter. So, if I really had to pick someone that wasn't Napoli, I would pick Milan in terms of merit. Also because of what they showed last year as well. Even though they had that dip in form towards the end, but just they just show really good football. Anyways, guys, I am suffering with this cold. I want to sneeze all over the place, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up, guys, and have my hot beverage. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the live. I know it's difficult, I know, but there are still 8 games to go, guys. There's a lot can happen. Have faith and just be happy about the fact that we even got to live a situation where Napoli is fighting for the Scudetto, where there was that possibility of being undisputedly first tonight. And honestly, guys, 12 months ago, this was not even in our wildest dreams. So, yeah, sometimes it's good to just be grateful at times. And again, if you want to hear someone say something different, if you want to hear someone blame our players for this performance, and just go watch some other channel. Seriously, I don't care. Unsubscribe. So, yeah, I'm going to go, guys. And as always, see you next week. And Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.